The evening has come to the opportunity to celebrate our last inductee. We couldn't have him introduce himself. He's been playing double duty tonight, and we're so grateful. One of my biggest fans. We have a young lady who's going to come up and give a speech that's incredible about our next inductee. Her name is Brenda Irving. Brenda, please come to the stage. So, before I let, how long do you want to speak?
Okay, I'm going to be quick, I promise.
Okay, it's not 35 minutes?
No, it's not 35 minutes.
There's still some baseball to watch.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make it pithy.
Let's take a look at our next inductee up on the video screen and bring everyone's attention. See what goes on.
Him.
Okay.
I'm from Prince Edward Island. I thought I'd met the best people in the world, and they probably are, but the people from Cape North just put on a great show for the cross-country skiers.
Our next inductee and the 2025 recipient of the Brian Williams Media Award is Dr. Scott Russel. Anchoring a live television sports broadcast is high-pressured work, where the goal is to make it look like it's not work at all. It's a fragile combination of preparation, presentation, and of course, passion. For 4 decades, from his rookie radio season in Prince Edward Island to his retirement from the studio last summer, through Hockey Night in Canada, Olympic gymnastics, show jumping from Spruce Meadows, World Cup soccer,
the FIFA U20 World Cup of Soccer,
and an incredible 17 Winter and Summer Olympic Games,
in South America. Been a great
Scott Russel of Oshawa brought stature and steadiness to every broadcast. As a young man, he studied journalism at Western University, taught and coached basketball, and always championed the lessons of teamwork, respect, and compassion that define the best of sport. And that doctor before his name? Well, in 2020, Scott was awarded an honorary doctorate from Nipissing University in North Bay, where he now serves as chancellor, passing on the lessons from a lifetime at the anchor desk to a new generation of students, athletes, and Ontarians.
And I want to thank you, the audience, for sharing everything with us. I don't know about you, but I've had the time of my life. Thank you.
So Scotty's been, emceeing awards shows and all this for I don't know how long and how many times, but have you ever been at a Hall of Fame induction that you're emceeing and you're no, okay. I didn't think so. It was about 35 years ago. I had moved to Montreal. I was new in the city, and I was a cub. Well, not really a cub, but anyways, I was a sports reporter, and I went to the Forum in Montreal, and it was my first time there. And there's Patrick Waugh and Guy Carbonneau and Denis Savard, but they weren't the celebrity that I was interested in. Here was the Scott Russel. So you have to understand, working for Hockey Night in Canada as one of their hosts, it was just, that's everybody's dream to be on Hockey Night at that time anyway. And here was Scott, and it was so thrilling for me to get to meet him. And, his job was the envy of every sportscaster. Well, fast forward about 15 years later, and we're working in Toronto at CBC together. And you might not remember this. You came up to me and said, well, Brian, guess what? I'm going to quit Hockey Night, and I'm going to come work for CBC Sports Weekend. And I was like, in my mind, not to him, I was kind of going, oh, okay. What? You're going to leave Hockey Night? And now, no offense, a lot of us here in the room work for Sports Weekend, but it kind of had a backseat to Hockey Night in Canada. So I'm thinking, he's crazy, this is a career killer, and all this stuff. But anyway, as it turned out, he was right in making that move. It's certainly I guess you could say that Scott found his calling. He really wrapped his arms around amateur sport, Olympic sport, and for close to 2 decades, Scott has become, in my opinion, the face of amateur sport in this country. And, you know, he's got it all going for him. He's professional, he's smart, you know, he's a great storyteller. But, you know, what sets Scott apart from everyone else is his incredible support of Olympic athletes and amateur sport in general. You know, he believes deep down in his heart the spirit of the Olympics, and anyone that knows him can attest to the fact that, you know, he wears his heart on his sleeve. And he feels what the athlete is going through on that field of play like no one I have ever met before. And he, you know, we'll be sitting there, he sat beside me at the office, and he'd say, you know, Brent, I got this great story, it's about this athlete. You know, he always felt that Olympic amateur athletes deserved all the recognition, the same recognition as NBA players or NHL players. And even tonight, you know, you turned to me and said, oh, Glenroy, I'm so glad he's got in. He deserves so much recognition. And Glenroy was talking about some of your athletic endeavors and the fact that, you know, you as a coach and an administrator. Anyway, he feels it from the bottom of his heart. And as we saw in his final broadcast, which was at the end of the Paralympics, you know, he said, thank you, I had the time of my life. Well, thank you, Scott, because you're an incredible person and such an advocate for the Olympic spirit and all who participate in the Games. Thank you. And as he always likes to say, he's so unaccustomed to public speaking, but I think he's going to say a word or two in a moment.
Thank you, band. Thank you, Brenda and Mark and Scott, for presenting. You are great friends. You truly are. And I've done a lot of talking tonight, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking. And now maybe, if you'll allow me, just a few more words before we close out the night and I perform my final duties as the MC. Firstly, I wanted to say I'm proud to receive an award named after Brian Williams. He is an idol of mine, and he's become a great friend. And he is forever Mr. Olympics in Canada. Brian, you certainly are. Congratulations to all our inductees and award winners this evening. I'm truly humbled to be in your company. And I know this for a fact. You represent the best of us. Performers, achievers, mentors, builders. And you show us what is possible if we put our hearts into it. All of you have the power to create such memories around the beauty of sport, which for many of us will last a lifetime. I've had the good fortune to be a storyteller for most of my adult life. And here's the thing, the story was never about me. But instead, it was about the women and the men and the teams that I was privileged to get close to. Sport, I have always believed, is an essential component of the global drama. It excites us and it unites us, as Larry said, like little else can. It can often give us a common purpose and a universal understanding. This in spite of our many differences and our diverse backgrounds. Sport is a force for good. It has its failings, but when it's done right, it has the power to lift us up. Almost every year, I visit Oxford, England with my wife and to visit her family. And every year, I venture out to the Iffley Road track at Oxford University, where in 1954, a medical student by the name of Roger Bannister became the first human being to clock the 4-minute mile. We did it on a cinder block track, and he ran it as a paced race. But he did what was thought to be impossible. Years later, he became a neurologist and continued his life in sport as well as his academic and research career. And this is what he said: however strenuous our work, sport brings more pleasure. It brings a freedom and a challenge which cannot be found elsewhere. It is not just the desire to succeed. There is also the desire in sport to find a companionship with kindred people. I believe in those words. I heartily believe in them. And I have to tell you, this is a big deal for me to be considered in the same company as all of these people. And that said, I am very happy to be surrounded by my kindred people this evening, my CBC Sports colleagues, who I owe so much to. My sister Carrie and her family, my wonderful wife Catherine, and our son Alex and his fiancée Michelle, and of course our daughter Charlotte. And a special thanks to Dr. Kevin Walmsley and his wife Carol, who are here this evening and who have welcomed me to the Nipissing University family in North Bay, where we love to cheer on our varsity Lakers. Sport simply has always been my passion, and I'm very thankful to be here tonight and want to thank you for this very great honor. Thank you.